Well, another quick install video. Again, we're going to be putting the Cusco brace. This one's going to tie up the control arms in the front there. This also, this is going to replace the two factory pieces as well. I believe they are a little bit thicker. I will measure that here shortly, but again, that is what's going on the car today. Already got her jacked up. So yeah, let's get into it. All right, so you can see I already loosened everything up, at least on this side. It's going to be 319 millimeters. This is the one that I just pulled out. These are torque to yield bolts, I believe they're called. Essentially, they're one-time use bolts. You can see the little, like, I don't know, little divot where it gets a little narrower right here. And again, this part essentially stretches as you're torquing it all down. So just make sure you do get new ones from the dealership or wherever, really. I got 4 total, so I have an extra set now too. They weren't too bad. I think they were like $6-7 each. So just make sure you get those, have those in hand. And again, it's going to be these 3 that we're going to be taking off on both sides. All 19 millimeters. I haven't checked this either up here. You can kind of, let me see if I can get you guys to see. You're also going to have to remove, there's a nut and bolt that's going to slide out of the front of the control arm. So again, it's going to be the 6 bolts, all 19 millimeters, both sides. And then obviously the nut and bolt on each side as well on the control arms themselves. So let me go ahead and finish taking this side off. I do want to measure the thickness of these factory ones versus the Cusco ones. So let me get that out real quick here. So there's the difference. Here's obviously the factory one. It's kind of hard to tell, but if you're wondering, I did measure them with the caliper here. The factory ones feel super flimsy by comparison. And the Cusco ones are 2 millimeters exactly thicker. So that's literally just the meat of it, if you want to think of it, you know, how wide it is. Not to mention, shit. It's gotta be, they feel like different materials. Like this feels more like aluminum. This, I think, I'm pretty sure it's steel. Also, fun fact, the brace itself, it is super, super light. So again, that one's very, very light. The triangles here, I'm just gonna call them triangles, little triangle braces, if you will, are no joke. They're very, very heavy. So again, comparing the Cusco ones to the factory ones, they feel crazy flimsy. So the Cusco ones are beefy. All right, so here's where I'm at. First of all, like once you take everything off, the braces, the nut and bolt on both sides, the whole bottom of the suspension, obviously the control arm is going to be loose. So it's basically like when you're trying to put everything back together, it's going to be kind of like a little puzzle of like, what can you put on? Or if you have 2 people, that's even better. I'm lonely, so I don't have someone else. Sorry, I try to say that without laughing. So what I'm going to end up doing, hopefully it works. I don't know, I've never done this before, but I basically got the bolt through the brace and just enough so that I could get the nut on this side. Yeah, I did it on both sides already. So again, nothing's tied by any means. It's just basically so that it holds the brace. I'm probably gonna maybe turn it a little bit more. Again, that we have enough thread on the bolt, or excuse me, on the nut. Then what I'm gonna do in just a second here is I'm gonna lift the back end of the brace, and I'm gonna have to align basically everything over here. The triangular pieces, as well as the huge bolt that goes up into the chassis, as well as the other 2 little small ones. These are the ones for the rear. So again, basically with everything loose, you can move the control arm back and forth. Obviously everything's going to move, but again, just kind of what I'm going to try to do is just get this on, that way it holds the brace. I guess I could have done like the transmission jack too to hold it up, but I don't think it's going to be necessary. So next is going to be try to maneuver this little puzzle over here to try to get everything at least hand tight and aligned. That way I can have a torque wrench, obviously, to tighten everything down. But again, just be mindful. You might have to mess with aligning some stuff. Also, I noticed, and it's kind of like a random, but the factory control arms, at least the bushing back here, isn't great. There's a lot of space between the control arm and the bushing. Like, I don't know, there's just a lot of empty space, I guess. It's hard to say. Like, there's only actual material, like, in little sections. I'm sure they do that probably just to make it maybe a little bit more flexible, maybe a little bit more comfortable on the road. But I might actually end up doing the control arms maybe next. Again, if I have to take all this shit back out, whatever. But anyways, just a little random fun fact. If you're going to do this and you're thinking about doing the control arms or yours are just totally shot, it would not be a bad idea to just do it all together. Then we don't have to take this back out. So again, let me try to get everything aligned back here. Give you guys a quick update here in a second. All right, so I got one side kind of aligned here. Let me, oh God, kind of see it. But anyways, this is all good now. Again, everything's finger tight, nothing's tight by any means. But again, this side, you're gonna have to kind of, at least what I had to do, when everything's off and loose, I had to push this side of the control arm out because it kind of wants to come in when everything's off. So again, how to push everything out. I first aligned the two 19mm bolts in the rear. Again, nothing tight by any means. And then I was finally able to get the big one through. It's hard to, you're not gonna see it right now, at least through that angle, but there is a little spot, a tiny bit of room, a couple of millimeters, between the frame of the car, the chassis, and the actual metal housing that's surrounded by the rubber bushing, obviously, around the control arm. But again, if you can basically get your head right here, between the little spot on the control arm bushing and the chassis there, that way you can see if you're at least somewhat close in the line to the hole. So that's what I had to do. I had to put my head up here and push the control arm out. Finally, it looked like it was pretty damn close. And again, just kind of try to fish for it there. So it wasn't too bad. Again, I just turned it a couple times just by hand. Again, nothing tight. Yeah, you don't want to cross thread anything. So I'm going to do the same exact thing on the other side. Hopefully now that we have this side somewhat aligned, it shouldn't be that terrible. Also, I did end up using I used a flathead. I also have another little, oh my God, prying tool over here. Then I ended up using, will the camera pick it up? Yes. Right here, again, to move the control arm back and forth, or if you need to move it up and down, I ended up hitting it just with my hand a little bit. But again, this whole bottom section of the suspension is pretty loose. So even if you've got like a friend, have them just maybe move the entire tire. Again, the whole control arm is going to move with it. So again, you're going to have to wiggle with it a little bit, but trust me, you'll get it. Just be patient. But it is kind of a real pain in the ass to get everything aligned here. So again, that's done. Let's get to the other side. We'll start tightening everything down. Okay, sorry, I am out of breath. So there's everything now officially, well, minus these, actually, I lied. But the 6 bolts in the rear are now good to go. So again, those are all finger tight, but at least there's way more, I don't know, I guess you want to call it distance. They're basically now getting ready to get torqued down. I guess maybe that's a better way to put it. I'm going to tighten these down a little bit more. But again, there it is. We'll start torquing everything down. Again, 19mm for the 6 in the rear, the 3 on each side. These ended up being 17mm nut, 17mm bolt. I wonder if I can get to it, because now we have this in the way. Might have to use maybe a deep socket to tighten it down, but either way, 19mm, 17mm. You're gonna play a little bit of a puzzle putting it all together, but just be patient, you'll get it. So let's start buttoning her down. Is that I can't talk anymore. Anyways, let's tighten everything down. We're almost done. So again, make sure you use a good torque wrench. I have this one from Tecton. I got probably about a year ago. Works amazing. And again, look up the torque specs if you haven't already. I have them here from the manual. And again, these are the 110 use bolts. So probably gonna put them in a bag. Maybe keep them as spares or whatever, but don't use them if you don't absolutely have to. So there's the specs. Start torquing everything down. Remember when I said you'd probably need a deep socket now that the brace is on here? You definitely need a deep socket. The shallow is not gonna work. So again, this is gonna be the last part that I hand tight. But again, just take your time with it. We'll get there. Make sure we're going in. Yeah, we're good. Also, the nice part about the brace, it's not hitting anything. The downpipe's got plenty of clearance. You can still get to the drain underneath the trans. If you gotta change the fluid there, you can still get to the one on the side. You might even still be able to get to this one here. I don't know, we'll see, but that's probably about the only thing it's blocking. But again, you're probably not gonna be doing the trans fluid too much. Even then, I don't know, might be able to get maybe up underneath it. But anyways, overall pretty solid construction. I am hoping, I don't know, it'll just tie up the rear end, the front end pretty good. So I'm honestly excited to drive it and see if, it's weird. There's been a couple of people, now that I'm thinking about it, there's been a couple of people that messaged me after I posted, is that finger pretty good? Okay. After I posted pictures of it that I was going to put it on, they reached out to me directly, and most of them were saying that they noticed even just this one right away. Obviously, if you've got the, I think, what do they call it? The brace yourself kit from Cusco, the whole, like all of them, obviously you're going to notice a massive difference. But yeah, a couple of you guys actually reached out to me saying that even just this one itself, you notice a big difference. So again, hopefully it'll be a good upgrade. We'll see if I know the difference or not. But okay, that's again pretty tight-ish. Again, not torque tight yet. So let me do the other side. Then we'll start torquing everything. All right, so we're gonna do I'm gonna do the main bolts. Let's just call it first. You like my little spot for my torque specs? Let's see. So that is a T7. It is 103.3 foot-pounds. Oh my gosh, did I ever tell you guys about the first engine I built? I I tightened everything in what I thought was foot-pounds, but it was inch-pounds. Yeah, I blew up that engine a couple times. Okay, so it's going to be 103.3 T7 main bolt. Let me make sure I'm tightening here. Okay, yeah, okay. 103. I have it set at like 104, 105 on the torque wrench itself. If you've got one of those fancy digital ones, even better. But not rich like that, guys. Damn, are we close? Yeah, it's set correctly. If that bolt breaks inside of the frame, oh my God, I don't even want to think about that. Take your time with it, make sure. There we go. Oh my gosh, okay. So again, 103.3 on the main one. Let me double check here. These two are gonna get 110.6. So again, 103.3, 110.6, 70.1. So 103.3, 110.6, 70.1. Let me finish doing the other ones. All right, well, there it is. Everything's torqued down. Again, pretty straightforward install. Thank goodness nothing went wrong, didn't strip anything. So yeah, hopefully that helps you guys a little bit there. Again, 17 millimeter, 19 millimeter, get the new bolts, and yeah, get yourself obviously a good torque wrench for everything. But that basically will wrap it up here. Yeah, I'm excited to drive this thing, and again, maybe I'll notice a difference, maybe I won't, but either way, can't go wrong with a little extra bracing. So yeah, if you are still watching, thank you so much. Hopefully these are helpful. Hopefully you guys enjoy watching them as much as I honestly do genuinely love making these for you. So cool, there it is. We are all done, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for sticking around.